right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Here we are continuing. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Oh, yeah. Here we go. I wanted to give charity. I have to do this Berlin netter because I always forget. I saw this one rabbi called Zusha Zilberstein, and it was very good. And he gives charity. He has very nice classes also. Why can't I? Here, let's go. We have to give charity. Here we have charity. Here, so charity is a very important thing. Here, charity that Hashem should return all of the captives and win our wars, destroy all of our enemies, and bring peace and happiness to the whole world. Moshiach. Now here we go. Charity. Charity is a very important thing to do. Okay, ready? Let's go. Okay, this is the Shabbat Etchanan, which is the Shabbat after Tisha B'Av, right? Like our Shabbat. Tisha B'Av is going to be this Monday night. This coming Shabbat is Etchanan. It's after. Okay, what is it? It's called Shabbat Nachamu. Nachamu, be comforted. And it comes from the prophecy of Isiah. And we talked about this before, that Isiah is like 63 chapters long. And the first 39 are pretty severe. It comes down pretty severe on the Jews, even though in each chapter there's always a line of a consoling line or something, like last week we had. So, but now this is almost from chapter 40 on, it starts getting really positive. And Nachamu. So here, let's have a look. Let's have a look over here. Here we go. See? Here, I brought it down this time. Here we go. Nachamu, Ami. Be comforted, my people. This is the chapter 40. Be comforted, my friend, says your God. Speak to the heart of Jerusalem and say that the appointed time, your suffering is finished. Your sin has been appeased. Take from God a double of all of your sins. You've been punished doubly. Right? A voice is heard in the desert. Make way for God, etc. All the mountains will sing, all of etc. The glory of God will be revealed. For Ra'u called Basar Yachtov, and all flesh together will see. That's talking about what Moshiach is going to bring. That's Moshiach. Moshiach is not going to bring everybody to the heaven. And no. Everybody's going to be happy and living. It says all flesh will see that God is speaking. God is the one that is creating us with his speech. And etc. And that's what this, maybe we'll translate it, we'll see in the course of the week, maybe we'll translate it. But just in general, that's very positive. Very positive. All the idols will all be destroyed and all of this, and okay. But it begins, Nachamu, Ami. Be comforted, my people. And why does it have to say twice, Nachamu? So it says in the Midrash, because Nachamu, it was a be comforted, doubled. Nachamu b'kiflayim, a double comfort. All right, with knowing that, let's begin. Yedua, it is known, Shagam, Haftorah, the Shevan and the Chamta, that all of the Haftorahs, the Haftorah is what we read after the reading of the Torah, right, on Shabbat. And there were Maftirim ben Nechamot, with the comforting messages of Isiah after Tisha B'Av until Rosh Hashanah. She'em lifnei azman, lefi azman v'lefi amoreh. That usually all of the haftorahs of the year, they're according to the parsha of the week. But these, from the time of Yud Zayin Tammuz until the end, they're only according to the to the seasons, to the occasion, the destruction of the temple, and comforting that there's going to be a third temple. The local haftorah is not that all the rest of the Shabbat, that they always are similar to the Torah portion. These 10, right? 3 haftorahs, which are before Tisha B'Av, which are God's anger, and the 7 haftorahs, which are after Tisha B'Av, which talks about God's promises that He loves us. Said they're not according to the weekly Torah portion. They don't have anything to do necessarily Torah portion. They deal with the time. With the time. Now we're in the weeks of the destruction of the temple, the rebuilding of the temple. Okay. So Kivan, since the Gamma Ma'oros, the Zamani Hashanah, but we have to say that these Torah portions that we're reading now, which are not ostensibly connected to the weekly Torah portion, they're connected more to the time of the destruction. But we have to say they also have a connection to the Torah portion. Why? Because first of all, everything is connected in the world. And also this is connected in the Torah. So it has to be connected to the weekly Torah portion, like the Shlah writes. The Shlah is Rabbi Yeshaya Horowitz. He lived about like something 400 years ago, something 350 years ago. That's the Shlah, the Shnei Luchot HaBrit. That's what he wrote a book called Shnei Luchot HaBrit. Shamoadim shall call the holidays of the whole year always have a connection excuse me, to the Torah portion which they fall in, which they are. Okay, so everything is connected. Okay, so what's the Rebbe trying to say? This week's Torah portion is called Nachamu. Nachamu, like we just finished learning. It's called in the beginning, Nachamu Ami, be comforted, my people. Atchalas, that's the beginning and the head of this Haftorah that includes, this is the first of the 7 Haftorahs of comforting us. This is the beginning, so this is like the head of all of them. So we have to say that it is also somehow or other connected to Parshat Etchanan, even though it's primarily dealing with this time of the destruction of the temple, but it falls in Etchanan, so it must have a connection. So what's Etchanan? Nachamu and Etchanan have to be connected. Shekorim La'olam, that's always, Etchanan is always read on the Shabbat after Tisha B'Av. Okay, what's the connection? Here we go. This is going to be relevant to us in our day-to-day life. Listen, the Kudat Tabir, the main explanation. Nachamu Ami, be comforted, my people, is Nachama B'Kiflayim, is a doubled comfort. What do you mean a double comfort? Being comforted for the first temple and being comforted for the second temple. It's very difficult for us to understand what it means, the destruction of the first temple and the second temple, what it means, the destruction of the temples. I mean, after all, it was just a building, so what's so bad about it? So even if the Jewish people had not been exiled, driven from Israel, the very destruction of the temple was a sufficient catastrophe that it would be remembered for all the generations. It's hard for us to understand this today, because in those days when there was a temple, God was a household word. Everyone knew that God was creating them. Everyone knew, they felt that the Torah was true. Everyone. There was nobody that didn't know for sure that God gave the Torah and that the Torah was true. They all knew it. But the world is very confusing. And because of that, they got confused. Like we said, we just finished learning. People have free choice. But they never dreamed that the temple would be destroyed. And so the fact is, they were destroyed. And in addition to that, Jews were exiled. After the first temple, they were exiled for 70 years. And the second temple were exiled up to now. What does it mean we're exiled? Precisely what we just said before. We have no idea what's so bad about the temple being destroyed. We don't even, what's so bad about it? That's called exile. That's called exile. The binyan Beit HaMikdash. What's going to comfort us for this? The building of the third temple in the Geula Shlishi. Bayit Nitzchi, an eternal house. Excuse me. Geula Nitzchi, an eternal redemption. There won't be any exile afterwards. Everyone will appreciate God. Everyone will appreciate the Creator. And this is relevant to also this week's Torah portion, Etchanan. What was Etchanan? We talked about this last week. This was 515 prayers that Moses made to go into the land of Israel. As it's known, that if the Jewish people would have merited to go into the land of Israel with Moses and building the third temple, there wouldn't have been a third temple. There would have been a first temple, and that would have been immediate for eternal. Now, like we said before last week, that Moses didn't want to just go into the land of Israel alone. He wanted that all of the people, the Jews that had died in the desert, and even though it doesn't say this, didn't say it last week, he just said the Jews in the desert. But I would imagine also all the Jews that died in Egypt, because it says that 4/5 of the Jews died in Egypt. The Rebbe didn't say this last week. But for sure, in the raising of the dead, those Jews that died in Egypt will also rise up. However it's going to be, Moses didn't want to go into the land of Israel also. He wanted to bring all of the Jews that had died in the desert together with him. So if that would have been, then he would have gone into the desert, into Israel. They already had the tabernacle. The tabernacle was always with them. It never stopped. It only stopped now when the temple was destroyed. So he would have built the holy temple like it was in the first temple, the second temple, or maybe the third temple, whatever it is, and that would be it, because the main point of the temple is to to enhance the identity of the Jewish people. What's the identity of the Jewish people? Two things: the Torah and serving God. The Torah, that was in the Holy of Holies. That's what God gives us. And serving God, that's what we did. We made sacrifices. Without the Holy Temple, we don't feel what God is giving us. And we can't serve God properly. But if Moses would have gone into the land of Israel with all the Jews together, then they would have felt the oneness of God. And also the temple was with them. They would be serving God. Then immediately that would be the eternal redemption. Jews wouldn't forget that they're Jews, what Jews are. But that's for Etchanan. So that's the connection for Nachamu Nachamu Ami. Nachamu Nachamu Ami means that God will comfort us. What does it mean, comfort us? That comfort is waiting for us. That's what Moses prayed for. And true, God did not answer his prayers. But nevertheless, that is going to be our true comfort, that Moses will come into the land of Israel and the temple, third temple, will be permanent. That's what Moses wanted back then. Right? And that's the comfort, says the Rebbe, not so fast. In Parshat Etchanan is stressed mainly not that Moses prayed and that he wanted the future redemption and that etc. Exactly the opposite. It's stressed that the Bakashas Moshe, that request of Moses to come to the land of Israel, it wasn't answered. So Etchanan is stressing the exile, not the redemption. How is that connected to Nachamu Nachamu? Nachamu Nachamu, God says, I will comfort you with the third temple. And Etchanan is saying the opposite. That Moses said, I prayed to you, God, 515 prayers, and you didn't answer my prayers. That's pretty depressing. Right? If Moses, who was the holiest of the holies, more devoted than any Jew is ever going to be to God, Moshe, Moshiach will be more devoted, but we're not Moshiach, we're just simple Jews. If Moshe's prayers weren't answered, and what did Moshe want? A good thing. He wanted to go into the land of Israel and build a temple. And his prayers weren't answered. So what about us? That's not much of a comfort. A nachamu nachamu. Huh? A mafurish bakra, like it says in the Torah. One second. It says in the Torah, V'yitaber Hashem bi lamanchem. And God got angry. And he didn't listen to me because of you. The Adon says, V'yomer Hashem Eli, God said to me, Al tosef davar alai od badavar hazeh. Don't talk to me anymore about this. Moses was requesting God, please, pretty please, please, God, let me in. I'm your friend. I'm your servant. God says, listen, okay, I'm not going to do it. No, enough. After 515, God said, enough. That's it. Allah Resha Pisgah, go up to a high mountain and you look and you'll see the land of Israel. See the whole land. God took him up on a mountain and said, this is as close as you're going to get to that land of Israel. Look around, see the whole land of Israel, below Ta'avor, because you're not going to cross over the Jordan River. But Savet Yoshua, you should command Joshua, because he's going to take the Jewish people in. He's going to conquer the land of Israel. Hainu, Parshas Etchanan, and Etchanan is stressed that in fact, actually, the Jews did not go into the land of Israel, not by means of Moses, but by means of Joshua. And afterwards, there was the destruction of the temple. And afterwards, the Jewish people went into exile. And it says, Kitolid Banim or Bene Banim, that we read on Tisha B'Av. In this week's Torah portion, it says, when you give birth to children, you have a lot of children, and they turn against me, God says, you should know that I'm going to get you, and you're not going to get away with it, says God. If so, that's not very comforting. How, if so, we thought in the beginning there was some similarity between the Haftorah that talked about comforting, and the weekly Parsha portion, because Moses was praying to get into the land of Israel and build the temple. We thought, but now the Rebbe said exactly the opposite. Moses' prayers weren't answered. How does this fit with the Haftorah and the negating the destruction of the temple, etc.? The Torah portion is only talking about how God refused Moshe. Okay, so they seem to be two opposites. The Haftorah and the Torah portion seem to be two opposites. When we give the answer to this, it's going to be a very, very comforting and positive message. But let's see what it is. Practical. Even though it's possible to say, it's possible to say that in the Parsha Etchanan is stressed the necessity and the, how do you say, another word for necessity? The necessity and the, how do you say, must be a better word. Necessity, the absolute, what is it? Necessity. There's a better word than this. The word synonymous with necessity. With the absolute necessity in of comforting us with the future redemption and Shlema, going into the land of Israel by Moshe. Maybe we can say it like this. The connection is like this, that Moses wanted to go into the land of Israel, and so much that he prayed 515 prayers. So you see how important it is. It's so important, so necessary that we be in the land of Israel. Moses prayed. And that'll give us to appreciate more the nachmu, the appreciation, the comforting that's going to be the third table. What do you say about that? Maybe we can say that the nechama b'kiflayim, and that this double comfort itself, it's not just what we need. It's shaychus l'tochen shel parshat Etchanan, not just to combat the message of Etchanan. The message of Etchanan is a bad one, that Moses requested to go in and he didn't get in. And maybe we can say that, okay, that's bad, but nachamu, that's good. That's coming to comfort us. So the Rebbe said, okay, that's a possible answer, but there's a better answer than that. We have to say that somehow or other, this nachamu is talking about Etchanan itself, is connected directly, not to combat the fact that Moses wasn't answered, but that's the same message as Moses not being answered. How so? Yuvan Bekton, we can understand the portion of the Torah, Shevan and Nechemta, Nachmu Ami. When it says, be comforted, my people, be comforted, doubled. Now the word doubled, it doesn't say be comforted twice. Nachmu. Be comforted twice. It says be comforted doubled. Now, when you say that doubled, it can either mean twice or it can mean start doubling. Start doubling. Shaychuta shel haftorah of geula, that's the whole idea of the future redemption, is in addition to the fact that it comforts us for the bad, but it's also, it increases good, doubled and redoubled. You do the word kefel is relevant to the redemption. Why is doubled redemption? Like it says, there's 5 letters which are doubled, right? The end letters, 5 letters which are doubled. But we have there's 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, but there's 5 of them which are double letters that if they appear at the end of a word, see, like here, for instance, artzecha. If the word chaf appears in the middle, it's like this, chaf. But if it appears in the end, it's a chaf, a long chaf, right? And so it also says the letter mem. If the mem appears at the end, it's closed. If it begins at the beginning, it's open. See on the bottom, it's open, mem. So it is also with the letter nun. It's not that common. Once again, we find one. In any case, these letters, if there's a nun and an end nun, a pay and an end pay, a tzadik and all these 5 letters are also used in sentences that talk about the redemption. For instance, God said to Abraham, Lech lecha me'artzecha, go from your land. Lech lecha. Mem, it says, each one brings a sentence. Pay, pakod pakadati, right? It says tzaddik, and the letter tzaddik, God is going to redeem the Jewish people. In the end, like it says, ish tzemach shemo, umitachtav yitzmach tzaddik. So all these 5 letters are double letters, doubled. And they are found in sentences that talk about the future redemption. And we can say that the connection to this being doubled to the redemption, the future redemption, this is also what it says, kiflayim l'toshia. It says there's a doubled salvation, a doubled salvation in Job. In Job, the book of Job, a doubled salvation. Toshia means salvation, means also like power, also for the language of Yeshua. Yeshua means salvation. And salvation from what we have to be saved from? Saved from our inability to see the truth, to feel God, to see how good God is, how close God is, how infinitely precious this world is. We don't see it. We don't see that how much God loves us. Well, that's called exile. So we have to be redeemed from this. Yeshua. And that's by means of these doubled letters. So when it says kiflayim l'toshia, kiflayim means doubled and redoubled. We'll see. Double. Kiflayim l'toshia. Kiflayim means a lot. Kolel, this means gam riboy. Kiflayim, many times doubled means doubled and redoubled and redoubled and redoubled. Ogam riboy gadol, a tremendous multitude. That's the thing. If you take the number 2 and you just multiply it by 2, it's like they say to somebody, "What would you rather have, $1 million or $2 multiplied 15 times?" Something like that. I haven't done it recently. I'm not that strong in mathematics either. So and double it. So you get 2. It says $1 million. What are you talking about? $1 million. It says, well, the other guy says, let's try the other one. He gets 2, and then he gets 4, then he gets 8. It's sort of disappointing. 16, 32, 64. And then it starts to get, 128. And then it starts to get more and more, 200 and this, and then 500, and then 1,000, and then 2,000, and 10,000. And then it comes out to be 20,000. And then all of a sudden you realize this is getting much more than when you start to double. And if you, let's say you double and redouble with no end, so then there's no end. Doubled and redoubled. I didn't tell you when to stop. But as until it becomes unlimited. When you say how much do you want double? You want twice as much? Yeah, twice as much. Constantly twice as much. right? $2, twice as much. 4, twice as much. 8, twice as much. Like we find in the Rebbe and the rabbis say that the loan from the kefil lashon afilu mea pamim. It says that you should, if you see someone making a mistake, you have to correct him. Says, what do you mean correct? Even 100 times. Even 100 times. And that what it says 100 times means without any end, until he gets angry. It says, he hits you. But it says this twice. Twice, that's good enough. Azov tazov imo. And just 2 times. No, it says no, you have to always help. Until it means not to limit 100 times or more. It means when it says for instance, you should correct your friend, it means without any end. You have to continue correcting him until he gets angry. It just happens to be why it says even 100 times. 100 is just a general name for a complete number. Like you have to make a blessing, 100 blessings every day. 100 is a whole number. Call a brachos, v'ha'oros, v'hamshachos, v'hashpos, elyon at the number 100. So when it says correct your brother even 100 times, it doesn't mean necessarily 100. It means an unlimited time, a complete number of times. Shleimus the kol. This is the number 10 indicates a certain type of wholeness. It's a whole number. Kafi, like each one, and 100 is how 10. Each one is included from 10. 10 times 10. That's 100. So therefore, it's also a 10 in each one of the hundreds. If you want it to be complete, 100, then you put 10 in each one of those hundreds. That comes to be 1,000, mispar elef, and etc. You want each one of those units which are in the 1,000 to be complete. Make that also 10. So that's the thing of doubling and redoubling. It means the thing becomes whole without any end. There's no end to it. Okay. So that's what the connection is we're talking about here. Kefil, that thing of nachmu means doubled and redoubled without any limit. This is only relevant to the future redemption. Sha'az then will be revealed in the world the light of God, which is unlimited. Ubalashana Kabbalah and Chasidus, Gilei or Ein Sof, a revelation of the light of Ein Sof. Therefore, everything will be complete, beginning with the complete redemption in the Beit HaMikdash. Geula Nitzchit, an eternal redemption in an eternal temple. Believe without any limit. Not like the first temple or the second temple that they had a limit to them. The third temple will be unlimited. Let me say something. This is what I think. People live in this world that they want a purpose. They want something, which is good. You know, a person wants to make money. He wants to be famous. He wants to make his mark on the world. Those are good. Those are positive things. But to think that that's the most important thing, that's a mistake. Why? The Rebbe brought it a lot of times. It says that a rich person that he has, let's say, $1 million, naturally you want 2 million. Naturally, that's the nature of a person. A person that has $1, he wants another dollar. I remember once Reb Mendel Futafas told me who is lacking more, a person that has $1 million or a person that has $1. So I said the person that has $1 is lacking more. He said, yeah, you could say that, but really the person that has $1 million is lacking more, because a person has $1, so his how do you say, his paradigms are very small. A dollar, he would like to have another dollar. Now he has 2, so he would now have 2, right? So his world is small, it becomes bigger. The bigger it becomes, so he wants that to redouble, that to double. But a person has $1 million, so he's starting off with $1 million, so he's lacking more. He wants another $1 million, right? So he's lacking more. Okay, but that's in the physical world. What about? So it ends up that people do things for what's going to be. They do things for what's going to be. If I do this, I'll make more money. I'll in the future. That's the way the world is. That's not bad. That's okay. But that's the way the world is. The point of that's the way exile is. That's the way exile is. That's what there is, and that's all that there is. That's the world. That's it. Right? You become famous. Okay. Judaism is trying to tell you that every moment of your life is infinite. Every moment of your life is more valuable than a million times a million to the billionth power. Every moment of your life is infinite. You're getting life. You're getting life from God. And when you do proper things with that life, then you're connected to the Creator in an infinite way. Infinite way. So that's better than $1 million. Make your million, 100%. But don't forget where real value comes from. Real value comes from doing something, the right thing, now. And when you do that, you might not feel the results. You don't see another zero in your bank account. But the fact of the matter is that you're connecting to the true infinity. In the future, everyone will feel this. That's why it says the world will be filled with the knowledge of God. You'll feel that when you do something for Hashem, for God, that you did something infinite. It's above understanding. It's also good to have a nice house and have money and all those things. God will provide those things. But what you have to provide is doing right now what God wants. It's infinitely valuable and infinitely meaningful. That's nachmu. Doubled and redoubled that will feel the value of right now. What we're doing, we're connecting to the Creator. That's the biggest gift you can possibly have. Every second becomes meaningful. It's a little bit long. Let's try this. Here we go. Ready? Let's go. Yeshlomo, we can say that this unlimitedness in the future redemption is stressed in nachmu even more than the 5 letters that we had before, these double letters. Remember we said the double letters. In the double of the letters, lech lecha, these 2 letters are equal letters. Lech lecha. The 2 chafs are equal. Lamed is equal and the chaf is equal. 2 times the same word. Excuse me. But they are different a little bit in their meaning. Lech means go, and it's pronounced differently. And lecha means to yourself. It's different words. They're spelled the same. Also the same thing in pakad, pakadati. These are the words that God said to Jacob, that he was going to redeem the Jewish people from Egypt. Pakad, pakadati. And Pirush, what does it mean? It means both of these words are, the meaning is the same, pakad, pakadati, but they're different letters. They're a little bit different. One is pakad and the other one is pakadati. So the letter pei is repeated twice, but it's repeated twice in words that are a little bit different one from the other. They mean the same thing, but they're okay. But nachamu, same thing as tzemach. We said that tzemach is 2 times tzadik. As yismach tzemach, the source of the word is the same, tzemach, but still the fact is it's 2 different words, which is not the case. Nachamu. And this, what Isaiah is saying, be comforted. There's no difference between the letters or the pronunciation or the meanings. It's exactly the same thing, doubled and redoubled. An explanation of the difference between them is the whole idea of what is going to be in the future redemption, the doubled and the redoubled, the infinite revelation that's going to be in the future. Shebakefel pakada pakadati is stressed that there are different ways of redemption. That what God said, He promised that He's going to redeem the Jewish people, that someone's going to come along and say pakad pakadati, that Moses is going to come along. That's talking about the future redemption, but it shows that there's different types of redemption. Pakad, one is pakadati, is another. Like for instance, the Rebbe, the Jewish people came back from the first destruction, from Babylon, and the first temple, and the second temple, and that's going to be, there's differences. There is in this what's not in this. The second temple was better than the first in size and in time, which is not the case what it says in Nachum. This is hinting at that there's going to be in the future a bli gavul, an infinite feeling of the infinite in the future redemption which is true. It's unchanging. It's not going to be any different between one word and the other, one letter and the other, the meaning of one word or the other. It'll be a repetition of the same infinite life. We talked about this before. People would go to the Holy Temple and they would feel happy. What would they be happy about? They would feel God. But God never changes. And it says, yes, everything in the world changes because it's not real. It changes all the time because it's impermanent. In this world, anything that's permanent is, in a way, there's no such thing as permanent. Even if a person, God forbid, he dies, so his body rots, the soul changes, everything changes. The only thing that doesn't change is God. So you figure if it doesn't change, that must be pretty boring. But exactly the opposite. It's constant life, constant excitement, constant responsibility. This is especially like what it says in the Midrash, excuse me. Says in the future redemption that all of them will raise from the dead, the Avos, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all the prophets that God sent to comfort the Jewish people, and they'll all come, and not in the raising of the dead. In the future, all of the prophets and all the fathers and all that came to comfort the Jewish people, they'll all go in front of God, and they'll say, Rabbonu Shel Olam, creator of the universe, master of the universe, Eina mekabelet mimenu tanchumin. The Jewish people, we've tried to comfort the Jews in exile, and they don't accept comfort. Nothing will comfort them. Shene'amar, like it says, Ani Yisora lo nachama. It says the troubled one will. The Jewish people are troubled. They're disturbed. They can't be comforted. God said, "Okay, me and you will come to comfort them." That's what it says. Nachamu nachamu ami. Be comforted, my people. God Himself, nachamu nachamu ami, twice. Nachamu nachamu ami. Or we can say nachamu nachamu imi, with me. The ayam is with me. Imi with the chirik. God said, I'm going to come and comfort the Jewish people personally. It's not fit for you to walk. I'm going to come myself. That's what God said in the future. In the future, the Nachamu is hinting that God Himself is going to comfort the Jewish people. Shakethel mora ala bli gavul shebenachama. The infinite redemption and comfort that there's going to be, because it'll be by means of God Himself. The true infinite oneness will come and comfort us. So we can see a little bit now. Let's say, for instance, right now, right? Let's just take an imaginary scenario, right? All of the nations in the world, the United Nations gathers everyone together, convinces everyone they have to come and attack the Jews. And they get all their atomic bombs and their nuclear bombs and their boom bombs, whatever, all the bombs and all the this, and they all get together, right? And they have their rockets and their ships and their missiles and their submarines and this. And they're announcing we're going to decimate Israel. We're going to decimate the whole place, right? You have to, all the Jews have to leave and give over to the Palestinians, right? What's going to happen? Countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 0. That's it. What happened? I don't know. We pressed the buttons. Nothing started. What about the planes? Planes don't start. Submarines. They're just all surfacing. All the bombs get lost. They're not, the whole world, nothing works. What's going on? No one can figure it out. It must be a Jewish plot. It says, what are you nuts? The Jews, the whole world doesn't work. This is a miracle. This is a miracle. God did a miracle. This is a miracle. Nobody can understand it, right? Then they all start saying, well, I hope that those bombs don't go. Maybe they'll go in the wrong direction. Maybe they'll all blow up here. Let's neutralize all the bombs. Everybody's afraid. Nobody knows what to do, right? Comes along the Moshiach and says, listen, guys, calm down. Everybody drop your religions, drop your hatred, close your armies. I'll neutralize all the bombs. I'll do everything. I'm just imagining this, but I'm saying it could happen 1 second. All of a sudden, everybody would say, whoa, 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 whoa. The God of Israel, even the Israelis will say it. Even the Israelis will say it. That'll be the biggest miracle of all. What I'm trying to say is that it's not that far from believing. Not that far from believing. I mean, I said it purposely in a nice way that the bombs didn't blow them up or whatever. All I'm trying to say is the scenario, physical, that everyone will believe in God. The problem is that everyone believes in God. So what do they believe in? They believe in God that they can stop wars, they can win wars for the Jews. We have to teach them about how much God loves everybody. That's the doubled comfort, how precious every instant is. That's the true redemption, and it's going to be, God willing, right now, no problem with Moshiach. Now let's do the Yom Yom. Maybe sort of went a little overboard with the fantasies over there. Let's see, 1 second. Here we go.